Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's Big Dave here, and let's talk about something that's important. And I've had this subject, I've talked about this subject before multiple times, but this time I really want to talk about change. And let's think about this because some people use and label it as success. Well, really, what is success? Success comes from change. What are the things that you're able to do for yourself is change yourself so that success can happen. Most of you are sitting there right now in a feeling of I'm stuck in a rut, or most of you are stuck with something. If the rut isn't there, it's something you're stuck. And you're like, I don't know where to go from here. And the reason for that is you don't know how to change it. See, our lives is made up of, all of our lives are made up of habits, patterns, if you will. So a pattern is what creates what you do, how you think, how you move forward, thus your success. So what is important here is for us to go through how do you change? What stops you from changing and how do you change? And that is what this topic is all about. It's a little complex, but it's way easier than what you might think, even though we make it so hard to do. And let's get started. And when we're talking about change, the interesting part is most people don't change because they can't or won't try to understand their own habits to create new habits, new patterns in order to change. That all changes now because I'm going to show you a system that if you apply it, which most of you won't, unfortunately, but the ones who do will create a system that allows you to change. And it all is using this powerful weapon we all have, right? If you ever feel stuck or you ask yourself the question, why do I keep doing this over and over again? If you ever just go and watch yourself repeat something and just do it again, even though you don't want to, this is for you. I'm talking directly to you. If you feel like any of that's you, things like anger, things like any type of emotion, sadness or reaction or deflecting or burying your head or avoidance. All these things are our reactions to things that have become habits. And these habits come from childhood, come from young adulthood. These habits are now stuck within us. And the crazy thing is, we don't even know where they're there. We didn't know we put them there, and we didn't know they're controlling us. But yet they are. And they're within our control, 100% within our control. Let's talk about the first truth. Your mind isn't designed for success. It's designed for survival. So when we're talking about survival is what your mind really is going to take and put you into a mindset of at almost any given time, because that's what our whole body really is designed to do, is survive. That creates our habits rather than the successful habits. We're trying just to survive. And what happens is the emotions then hit us. And we're thinking, how am I going to survive this emotion? Even though there's multiple ways, you automatically create a habit that creates it. Tough one to understand, but I know you're getting me here. Let me explain this further. If you've always procrastinated, that's what you've always done. Your brain thinks, hey, that's safe. I know this path. I've done it before. Safe. Doesn't mean you should ever procrastinate. Doesn't mean that's the choice that leads to success, but your brain says, I'm used to it. If throughout your life you've always doubted yourself, your brain's going to think it's safe to doubt yourself. Your brain's going to go, I know this. I've been there. I've done it. So I'm comfortable with doubting myself. Should you doubt yourself? Hell no, you shouldn't doubt yourself. But that's not what your brain's going to tell you. And if you've always been afraid to take that step, that one step forward, and that's always how you've been, Your brain's going to say that's the place you should be and fight you to be there because that's safe, survival, safe. Thus, you'll never take that giant leap. And what I'm here today to talk to you about is how do you change your mindset, which is a conscious change to overcome what your mind is now designated as safe, which most likely isn't the right decision for you to succeed, and turn it around so that you can now create habits and patterns of success. Think of your brain as a program. Let's even use just an app. Think of the apps that used to happen or used to be there. Let's even go beyond apps and just think about ease of use of computers, of what's happened. Look at simple things like how you got directions and what it would do and how it would keep updated, and the mapping, the things we all take advantage of now as we just put it in and it goes where it tells us to. Well, we used to have a paper map and have to have an atlas when I would travel throughout the US and have to go look at where to go and then go and figure it out street by street. Then all of a sudden came, now I can't think of the name of that first program, but we all used it. And then it would map out, turn right, turn left, and tell you the roads and have a map up there that you could follow. And then all of a sudden came in automated directions that give you in real time where you're going as you're going. And that progress is all because of conscious improvement. So you can say from, when things started in the 2000s to now, say 2025, that progress of computer programming has been substantial. Your mind is the same way, but you're in charge of programming it. So you may be in 1980, you may be in 2000, you may be in 2010, maybe in 2015 programming, but you're since outdated because you haven't reprogrammed your brain to do the things you need to do. And that's what I'm talking about here. When you start looking at telling your brain what you want it to do rather than it telling you how and what to do, now you start to seize control. And that control is what leads you through to success, to change, which equals success. The part that's important through all this is, as all this happens, you're going to constantly try to change. And as soon as something happens you're not comfortable with, your brain's going to fight you to go back to what's comfortable. So all of this is on you. Imagine if you were a software, and if that software didn't work, you automatically now had to go back to the old software. You would lose that game, and other people, you would lose everybody's attention. I mean, improvement is so important. Like, look at Amazon early on versus what it is today. If it didn't constantly improve, people still wouldn't be using it. If it didn't make things so easy, people wouldn't be using it. Right? But our brains are so used to not changing until it becomes an agent of change for you. You're going to be stuck with what you always had. And I'm here to tell you it's within your control to change that, because it really is. I'm about the farthest thing you ever want to be from a scientist, but through me trying to learn all of this, I'm going to give you my interpretation of how things work within the brain that made sense to me, and I'm going to try and simplify it my own way. So this is not going to be technically right, but you'll get the drift. Your brain overall runs on loops. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but it runs on a loop. And it's a neural loop, a thought loop, a habit loop, and the emotional loop. So let's talk about how these loops work. There's a trigger. Something happens that triggers you, and then your brain sends a signal to the loop it wants to use. Let's talk about how the loop works. Really, there's 5 things within the loop. It's the first one is trigger. The second one is meaning. So there's a trigger that happens. There's a meaning you give. After the meaning you give it, there's an emotion that's then tied to it, and then a behavior that then is dictated. And then the reinforcement comes in. So it reinforces so let's go through that. You're triggered, something triggers you. You give it a meaning. That a meaning gives it an emotion. That emotion then dictates your behavior, and then your behavior is being reinforced to keep behaving that way. So let's use a real life example of how the brain is doing this. Let's use maybe email. Email is a simple one because we all have email and used it forever. You get an email, let's say it's from your boss, and you basically, it's a criticism email. It's something that's being critical of you. So what happens is you now get triggered. And that trigger, the meaning you give it because of that trigger of the criticism, this criticism being your trigger, the meaning you give it is, I'm not good enough. That's the meaning you as a person give it. Now, since you gave it that meaning, it creates the emotion of anxiety. Now you're anxious and it builds up because you gave it the meaning that you're not good enough. So now this anxiety builds up and you just feel it and it sucks. So what's the behavior that happens that you do is you avoid it. Because throughout your life, when things make you anxious, you avoid it. You go, I'm going to put that over there and not even try to worry about it. And how's that being reinforced? That behavior of avoidance? Your brain now says, avoid it. It works because now I'm not going to feel that anxiety. Even though it's the wrong way for you to go, it's where your brain is taking you. Something that simple as a criticism. We interpret that meaning to think that you suck and you're not good enough. Because of that, it breeds the emotion of anxiety. And because of that, you avoid it. And then your brain says, because I avoided it, I don't feel anxious anymore. So this is a good thing. I'm safe. And all you did is make things worse. But that's not what your brain feels. And boom, another loop is born. And that's a loop. That loop is now stored in your brain until you change that loop. See, the mistake so many people make is we try to change our behaviors. Well, yeah, I get it. And yeah, you can do a point. But your behavior isn't coming in such a way that you can just change it by going, I'm going to behave differently. If you can't attack the meaning you give something based on a trigger event, the meaning dictates the emotion dictates the behavior. So until you attack the meaning you give something, how in the world are you going to be able to then attack the emotion, thus attack the behavior? The answer is you really won't. So remember this very thing. You don't react to life. You don't. I know it sounds crazy and weird, but you don't react to life. You react to the meaning you give something within life. Let's go through those 5, right? Trigger, meaning, emotion, behavior, reinforcement. That's within our control. We jump to the conclusion of the meaning without even thinking about it. Thus dictates that emotion, thus dictates that behavior. So when you're trying to change this, the secret weapon is in the meaning you give something, of which it's totally your choice. It may not feel it right now, but it's your choice. Now let's talk about your mental capacity, your mental past. Because the past is defining this in these loops of all the experiences you've had and all the things you've done to put these in little corners of loops that now your brain deems as safe. Even though they may not be safe for you, they may not be safe for you, your goals are not going to be safe for you improving, but they feel safe. And because we're designed to feel safe, that's what's going to be reinforced. All of this is built up, and call it your operating system. Let's call it that because we've been using this whole comparison to programs and software. Let's call it your operating system. Past experience is your biggest influence on it. What has happened in your past? What has transpired? How did you deal with it? What did your body learn, your mind learn to deem as safe? Then what repeat thoughts and emotional patterns came from? And then what did people tell you about yourself? And more importantly, what did you believe to be true about yourself? These are all things that now created your programming and your loops as to what you deem as safe. Another way you may say is what you deem as real. Let's use that term in air quotes, real, because you're defining your reality based upon your loops that are already there. That doesn't necessarily make it real. It's just real to you because of your loops. Now, maybe you're picking up on the problem, but here's the problem. We're operating as adults based on experiences that have been defined as safe as children. And we haven't taken the time to beat up our mind to do improvement in order to attack those things and improve our software, our program. Yet it's within our control and our choice. We just didn't know how to do it. One, we didn't realize it was going on. And two, we just don't know how to do that. And every time we try to do that, our brains say, nuh-uh, not today. You know, it's interesting saying it this way, but we're running with adult goals, like mature goals of things we need to do, but with a child's program. I mean, kind of makes sense for me sometimes because my humor has never got above the 5th grade. But when you think of it that way, it shows you that we do need to reprogram ourselves beyond our childhood programming. But that only comes by understanding how you change yourself. And the secret's already been talked about. Little sneak peek. It's the meaning you give something. So at this point, it's really difficult now to say, all right, how do I just change? And you're going to go, I don't know. I'm confused because I have childhood programming. It doesn't want to let me change. I'm there. And that's all fair. All that confusion you're feeling is fair. I think it is very fair. But the real path and the system to change, the system to upgrade your programming is within all of us. It's within you. And the first step is awareness. You need to become aware of where you're at. Self-awareness is the number one challenge because if you can't get to awareness, you can't get to change. When you're having false beliefs about yourself, change is not going to happen. And the false beliefs are coming from childhood programming with adult problems. So what are you going to have? All this crap you think is real, that's not. And one of the things that we live through life all the time on this is it's always someone else's fault. And if you're always thinking it's someone else's fault and not your own, I guarantee you almost 100%, because there are always exceptions in life. Now I got something in my eye. Always exceptions in life. But I almost guarantee you that the problem's you. You haven't upgraded your programming. And something from your childhood is stopping you from seeing what's really happening to what your mind says is really happening, and you can't see anything else. So you need to upgrade your programming. I'm not going to say this is easy, but it's very doable. We all can do it. But awareness is your first step. The first question I want to ask yourself is just take it simple. And just let's start with one thing. And this is the first step to upgrading your system, your personal success system. Ask yourself this question. What do I do? What's one thing that I do that I really don't want to do anymore? Ask yourself that. Another one you can ask yourself is, maybe this one's easier. What patterns show up over and over again? What are the things I keep doing over and over again? Maybe there's 3. Like, you ask yourself, why in the world do I keep doing this? It doesn't make sense, but I keep doing it. Write them down. Another way to do this and attack it would be, when things get hard, what are you doing? Write those down. How do you respond when things get difficult? Write it down. If you write down when things get hard, I get anxiety and I avoid it. Well, we talked about this. That's a defined loop you've already gone through, so you're going to keep going through it until you attack it. And I want you to remember this part, because people get confused on this, and I don't want you confused on this. Awareness has nothing to do with judgment. You don't judge yourself by becoming aware. You don't sit there and go, oh my God, this is how I always react. I'm an idiot. No. That is not what awareness is. Awareness is understanding that you do it because you have childhood programming. That's power. You know why that's power? Because now you can do something about it. Mistake number 2, besides judgment, is thinking you're going to change everything all at once. No, pick one thing. One thing and attack it. All right, we now are aware of it. We picked our thing. Now, when it comes into your mind, disrupt it. Your mind holds the power. Your mind holds the power based on the meaning you give something. One, by the triggered event, and then immediately the meaning you give it. The meaning you give it is 100% in your control, even when you don't think it is. A solution. As soon as you are aware you're doing it, because now you picked your thing, saying out loud, that is the old pattern, not anymore. That is the old pattern, not anymore. That will disrupt your thought process. Now that it's disrupted, you got to give it a new meaning. What's it mean? Ask yourself, what meaning serves you best? Let's use the criticism email. Maybe you can give it a meaning of, maybe there's a better way to attack the project that I did. I need to seek to understand what that might be. Because I know I'm good enough. I just got to understand what that meaning is, and why and what and how should I attack that project differently. The meaning I gave that is self-improvement, not I suck. Insert whatever meaning serves you in the best way. So you're aware. You picked one. You're aware of it. You catch it. And now you flip it to a meaning that serves you. Your brain will accept this with repetition, the reinforcement part. So you have to keep doing it. You can't do it once and then think you got it. You got to do it for months upon months. So your programming gets a new loop. And that new loop is your new definition of the meaning. And then it becomes same old, same old. And now you have a meaning that's working for you rather than you working for childhood programming. You know, imagine you out there and just thinking about how you're going to solve something. And although it'd be funny, you just start talking in Sesame Street characters to answer problems. Well, if that's essentially you're just doing that in your brain right now and don't even know it. You're big birding a problem rather than adulting, even though you think you're adulting because of old programming. Now you become aware, right? You pick something, you become aware. You then, because you're now aware of it, you say, no, that's not me. I'm going to change that. And you define the meaning you give it that serves you and change it and repeat it. So let's talk about a few examples that maybe can help get you to get this vibe, get this thing that we're talking about so that you can apply it. A lot of times what happens is something is a triggered event and you give it a meaning of this is too hard. Oh my God, it's too hard. It's too much. The meaning you could flip to is, if it's hard, it means I'm growing. And I get excited that I'm growing as a person, that I'm getting better. If it's hard, it means it's worth doing. I like that. See, the new meaning now means something totally different to an emotion that you're triggering. Now it's a happy emotion of drive rather than a sad emotion of anxiety. Let's think that's another emotional event. Something happens and you say to yourself, I always fail at this. And now that you are aware that you're saying that, you're trying to catch it. Now you're going to give the new meaning of, you know, this is a skill I really need to improve upon. I got to spend time on it. See the big difference there? Doesn't seem big, but it's big. A big one is, I'm not ready. Your mind will go to, I'm not ready. The new meaning you can give it is, readiness is created, not found. Let me see that different. That readiness is always within you when you're seeking to improve oneself. And when you look at opportunities to improve yourself, you can get there. It doesn't mean one day you just find it. No, it's a drive. So thus you give it a new meaning that creates readiness. That creates readiness is created, not found. A little more complex there, but I think you get that. So it can go as simple as we stated to as complex as we went, even more complex with advanced stuff. But right now, what's important is just the simple things. Let's do the low-hanging fruit within ourselves and stop those childhood things with adult problems. Now, we've gone through all of this and the 5 things because now we have reinforcement within our mind is the 5th, and all of that happens. So we got triggered, the meaning happened, and the emotion and the behavior, and then the reinforcement. What permanently puts it in there is your action. And that action comes from all those 5 events just happening within that loop. Your action then comes from that. What action do you actually take? So when you're taking the action of redefining that meaning and now doing the new thing, through repetition, your brain will now sink it in as a new loop. Through repetition, you get a new emotion that's tied to it. And it's always in that loop. Through repetition, you now have consistency of behavior of a brand new way to look at things. And now your actions are not the same. You're not running away from that problem. You're attacking it. You're no longer avoiding more responsibility. You're accepting it as a challenge and now consider it as a drive to improve. And you believe in yourself that you can do it because it's the meaning you gave to it in the beginning. Rather than having an emotional event that got triggered that now makes you avoid everything, you now, and it may only be one time or one thing, sorry, not one time, but one thing that you're now repeating multiple times, you're not avoiding it. You're attacking it because of the meaning you gave it, and now to serve yourself to what you're after and what you want to do, not serving something you're not aware of that is from childhood. Let's be real about all this. If you want change, that change comes from consistency, habits, patterns. So you have to keep attacking it every single time that thought comes into your brain until it becomes a new habit. Really focus on it for 3 months. After 3 months, if you focus on it and you caught it every time or almost every time, we're all human, something's going to happen. Almost every time. That new loop is there. So it's ready for you. Excuse me. Now, if you go backward and start thinking the other way, that loop's going to be taken away and the old loop's coming right back. But if it's a conscious effort after 3 months and then you've been doing it, that new loop is within your brain and you're now not going to worry about it. So you attack the next one and then the next one. And then within a year, you're 30% better. Heck, if we get to 45% better, you're above most people. This isn't 100% I'm going to be perfect. It doesn't exist. We just got to reprogram and upgrade the section of the apps we want to within our brain. And I just gave you the secret out of another little secret that can help you. It's just in general, when you feel all of a sudden an event has triggered the stress emotion, you can ask yourself this question. What meaning can I give to this event that shows me that I'm learning, improving, or that it's not as stressful as I think it is? And go to that meaning and use that meaning. The meaning you give something is how you change. You can't really change your behaviors in a permanent way. until you change the meanings you give things. So, in summary, at the end of all this, I want you to use journaling power. What I mean by that is hand write this stuff down. Write what you notice about yourself, write what you're going to do, and write it down in handwriting on a piece of paper and keep it somewhere in a file that's safe to you. Write this stuff down on a piece of paper and journal it and track yourself on the piece of paper. You want it to be significantly different from anything else you're doing so that you are really paying attention to this change. Use journaling as a weapon here to help you stay organized and fight your brain, because your brain's going to fight you always to be what it considers safe, even though it's not. But to your mind. And one little last secret that I'm going to give you before I'm going to end this, because we've covered so much, I don't want to go and complicate things too much, is use the power of I am statements and avoid the negative influence of I am. I am a fat person. That's a negative one. I am a person on a health journey to understand how to get well. That's a good statement. I am a healthy person. Once you got there, I am a healthy person. I am. Be careful of that. Like, I still get stuck sometimes, and I'm not good at that. It's a true statement. I'm not. But if I wanted to become good at that, I would basically have to change that I am statement, because that I am statement is now reinforcing, making that loop that I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to take the time to learn it. Self-awareness is important because you don't want to attack everything, but my point is you want to attack the things that you know are going to serve and help you in what your mission, your cause, your expertise, the thing that's stopping you. That comes from self-awareness. That comes from you journaling it down by hand in a book somewhere, in a piece of paper somewhere, and then going through all 5 sets: the trigger, the meaning, the emotion, the behavior, and the reinforcement, writing them all down so you understand, and then redefining the meaning it gives you to serve you so you can redefine the emotion and the behavior and the reinforcements. My goal here is for you to start choosing and deciding your responses to things rather than they be dictated to you by emotional events you seem to think you have no control over, but you do. You're not stuck. No matter how stuck you think you are, you're not. You're stuck in a childhood programming in an adult world, not knowing how to solve it until you upgrade your programming. And I just taught you how to do it. Your past doesn't define you. Your old habits don't define you. What defines you is what you do and choose to do with it. You can choose to attack your habits and change them. I'm proud of you for doing it, and I'm so with you for doing it. And if I can answer any questions, I'm here. And I'm excited to go and be a part of this journey with you. And thank you for letting me be that person that is helping you through this journey. Have a great one, and I'm sure I'll talk to you all soon.